What's going on, Z Nation? It's your boy Big Z the Penguin here at Z Nation. Alright, guys, so today is going to be the second part of team building. So this is going to be team building part 2, weather teams part 1. Basically, our goal right now is we're going to build a team based on weather. I'm going to show you guys different ideas and techniques when it comes to team building. Um, if you guys can, hopefully you guys can see my notepad that I have up on the screen. Team building part 1, sand. Alright. General rules for a basic weather team. So basically, some general rules for a basic weather team is have one weather setter. With Sword and Shield, having max moves, introduced us being able to set weather such as hail, rain, sun, and sand. But so setting weather isn't necessarily a problem. Um, but having one weather setter I think is ideal. You can go with have at least one. Let me at least. You can run two, maybe run multiple if you want to do something like this. So you have weather control. But for me personally, I like to have one. Then the second one, you want to have at least two weather abusers, such as Swift Swim users, Sand Rush, Chlorophyll, Solar Power, Slush Rush, etc., etc. And so, being able to have those Pokemon um, that can abuse your weather that you're going for is ideal. The next deal is to have coverage for your team. Basically, so for sand, you're gonna generally have like rock, ground, and steel types. So they're generally gonna be weak to grass um and water. So being able to use having like either whether it's a fire type, um, but your rocks can cover it, but like for grass types have a fire type, so you want to have some kind of coverage. Um, have a synergized core. So when I say have a synergized core, I mean you want to be able to have your team to where it can work together in any given way possible. And yeah, so those are the four basic rules to kind of follow, or guidelines to follow. So for weather team building part 1, sand. So we're going to go to the VGC 2021 format. Sand team. Alright, so we're going to kind of break it down kind of like this. So you're going to have first mon, second mon, third mon, fourth mon, fifth mon, sixth mon. And this is really a better way of looking at the general rule of thumb, the guidelines. So you're going to want to have your sand setter. For sand, you have three setters, and so the ability for sand is Sand Stream. You have Tyranitar, Gigalith, and Hippowdon. Each one of these are great for however you want to go about it. So you have Tyranitar, which has overall decent stats. He's the fastest one. Has the bulkiest special defense, highest special attack. He does have the weakest physical defense, but he does have the second highest attack, only being 1 point behind Gigalith, and has the second highest HP. You got Gigalith, who's the slowest, which if you wanted to run some form of Trick Room Sand team, Trick Room team with Sand, that could be well. You could run Hippowdon. Basically, I don't see also he's ground, so he's not going to be weak to steel. He's not going to be weak to fighting, and so he has different types. Tyranitar, be careful, he's weak to fighting, with 4 times weakness to fighting. So let's take a look at Tyranitar's weaknesses. Tar, 4 times weak to fighting. He's weak to water, grass, ground, steel. I think that's it. Then he's weak to fairy. So he's weak to fairy. So Gigalith, weak to water, grass, ground, steel, fighting. Hippo Wildon is weak to grass, water, ice. Is that all that beats ground? Grass, water, and ice? Can't think of anything else that's super effective against it. And so, clearly Gigalith has the most weaknesses. Hippowdon has the least, but it's overall its stats really aren't there. So we're actually going to go with Tyranitar mainly because I like having Tyranitar. So Sandsetter, Tyranitar. So now let's take a look at Tyranitar. I actually already ran damage calcs on him because I actually wanted to run a sand team. So 156, and we want to have. And this is the build I came up with him. Now, so my build. So this is my build of Tyranitar. How I kind of went with it, and I'll go through everything together. But a standard build of Tyranitar, you would see like a weakness policy, Sandstream, Rock Slide, Lash Out, Superpower, Protect, 252, 252 plus, and then you could probably put like 4 right here. That's a standard build. Basically, you Dynamax and he's able to take a hit and then dish out some other damage. And so, but yeah, so that's a standard build you're gonna see. But I like my build a little bit better. It can take hits. If you guys can see this window, these are all the damage calcs that I ran. You know, all of these are with Tyranitar Dynamax, but it can take some hits. And so, alright, so with this Tyranitar, so with it being able to take hits, a weakness policy was definitely wanted to be put on here. I was going to run a Focus Sash, but I was like, well, when you're Dynamax, you're generally not going to get O-Code like that anyway, for the most part. So having the Focus Sash I thought was kind of pointless, and you generally want to Dynamax your Tyranitar. But there will be some occasions you don't. You Dynamax other Pokemon, but Tyranitar. But yeah, and so when you take hits, whether it's by a super effective attack or not, worst case scenario, you get hit with a super effective attack, your weakness policy is set. For his move pool, I decided to run Rock Slide and Lash Out. Lash Out, if you had a stat that was lower this turn, say you got intimidated, well, Lash Out's power is doubled. Rock Slide, say like you're under Trick Room or whatever, you have a 30% chance to make your foe flinch, but the key thing is you have Max Rockfall and Max Darkness. Max Rockfall actually sets up sand. So say like Tyranitar Sand ended, well you have you can use Max Rockfall to set up sand. Effects. Alright, and then so Lash Out becomes Max Darkness, and what it does is, I'm pulling it up right now, it'll lower your foe's special defense. And so just 2 basic moves. The next move I wanted to run was Dragon Dance, because there are going to be times where you can get away with doing a Dragon Dance to boost your speed and your attack stat. So, and then the final move is Taunt, because it actually prevents, so this will prevent Trick Room from being set up. Oh, and also the reason why we have Dragon Dance is because it'll increase your speed by 1 stage. In other words, so your speed will be at 133. So that's just something to keep into account. But yeah, Taunt prevents Trick Room or any kind of setup moves. Mainly used for Trick Room, just to really get to kind of keep the game in your favor. Since the idea is, the idea with the sand team is I want to have speed control. I don't want to run a Trick Room build, and so. But yeah, so that's how we got our Tyranitar. So for the next 2 mons, we're gonna put Sand Abuser. So for the longest time, you really only had one kind of Sand Abuser. So let's take a look at Sand Rush. I mean, so in the beginning you had Excadrill and maybe Stoutland. I don't know if Stoutland was in there, but you had Excadrill and Stoutland. Uh, and then when the Isle of Armor came out, you had Sand Slash, Lincoln Rock, and you got more. And now with the Crown Tundra, you have Draco's Volt and Dracovish. So Excadrill is definitely going on the team, and Dracovish. Before we had Dracovish, we would use either Rotom Wash, Gastrodon. Let's take a look at the water types. And we'll go through what you would use to put on. So yeah, you would run so you could run like Gastrodon. You would run Gyarados maybe. I don't know if you'd have Primarina or not. You would then probably go with the Trick Room build. You'd maybe run like Ludicolo, Milotic, um, and so, but yeah, so those would be the mons you would run. But fortunately, we have Dracovish, so now we don't need to. And what's nice is we are not sharing any kind of types. So you have Rock and Dark, Steel and Ground, Water and Dragon. So that's really ideal. So with Excadrill, how I go with my Excadrill is I make him Jolly straight up off the bat. That's the first thing to do, because when he's max speed, he'll be at 308, and not a lot of things can outspeed that. Like most Pokemon that like Kingdra, Rillaboom, Tapu Fini. So we'll actually take a look at those Pokemon right there. Speed, and I want to say it's the 85 base speed, I think. Alright, so you have Pokemon such as, you got like Toxicroak. I'm gonna name like the big ones, like Golduck, Nidoking, Duraludon, Articuno, Suicune, Komao, Kingdra, Rillaboom, Duraludon, Tapu Fini, Indeedee, Cresselia, the Rotom. No, Rotoms are a little bit faster. Basically, they under Tailwind, all their speed is maxed out at 150. Then you got the Rotoms that are gonna be 152. Hitmonlee, that'll be 154. You'll have like, so you'll be at 156. I mean, no, you'll be at, wait, what is it? You'll be at 308, so you'll be able to outspeed a lot. For Excadrill, I want to give him a Focus Sash because of how frail he is. And so we're gonna go ahead and max out his physical attack. He has great HP already. Not too good defense or special defense. So since his defense is a little bit lower than special, we're gonna add it to his defense. For moves, I like to give him Rock Slide, because he's gonna since he's generally gonna be moving first for the most part. Having that chance for a 30% punch is always a deal. I'm gonna give him Iron Head, same idea. And of course, high horsepower. I was going to run Earthquake, but if grassy terrain is out there, it'll weaken Earthquake. And plus, Earthquake is a spread move. One of your partner Pokemons could be low in HP, and so you don't want to overkill yourself. And then finally, we're going to run Protect. This is a standard Excadrill, and most Excadrills were ran like this. I don't find any reason to need to change them. And so next for Dracovish. So for the longest time, we would use Strong Jaw and have him partnered with like a Tailwind user. But what we're going to do is we're going to give him Sand Rush. So you lose that extra 1.5 boost, but it's fine. We are going to give him a Life Orb. Most Dracovish will run with like a Choice Band. I do want to give him Protect because not many Dracovish run Protect. I want to give him Rock Slide because, again, with Sand Rush, he will possibly be moving first. And so being able to set up, being able to do that is just ideal. And you have the possibility of Dynamaxing Dracovish, which really you want to, let's get rid of that. Generally, you're more likely to Dynamax Excadrill over Dracovish, but, you want to kind of stick with Tyranitar if you can. I do want to run Fishish Rend because that's its signature move. Your power is double if you move first, and then of course you get the Life Orb boost and then Stab, and so. And then finally, I like Psychic Fangs because it breaks screens. And so, again, just like Excadrill, it's very standard, except we're gonna give him 252 in attack and speed, except we're gonna make him Adamant. And for his defense, we're gonna give him 4 in special defense. This is, so you could say right now this is our core. Um, Tyranitar, Excadrill, and Dracovish. This is the core. And remember, we kind of went through our cores yesterday, uh, and so this is the core. Chances are, if you see this thing, you can always assume to have you're gonna see Excadrill and Dracovish. You're very seldom gonna see like Tyranitar and like the three other Pokemon. And so, all right. So now, let's put Dracovish and Excadrill. All right. Weather support. So, excuse me, guys. I'm just really OCD. Everything's got to line up. So the reason why I call this weather. So, what is weather support? So weather support is basically it's gonna cover the weaknesses that the team. So, what are some weaknesses to So, weaknesses are fighting, water, grass, ground, fairy, steel. Um, Excadrill has a weakness to fighting, ground, fire, water, grass, I guess. Um, Dracovish has a weakness to fairy. Um, Fairy and dragon. I don't think Excadrill is actually weak. So let me see what are the weaknesses. I need to. I'm gonna get on Pokemon database. This will be able to tell me. So let's take a look at steel weaknesses. So the only moves that are super effective against steel are fire. Let's see, are fire, fighting, and ground. So it does not resist water though. So it'll resist that. And so, and Tyranitar, yeah. So, uh, so I noticed that one common thing they both share are ground weakness. Ooh, we need to put the computer on the charger. So, they share a ground weakness. They share a water weakness. My computer on the charger. Where is the right here? Um, And so having a grass type is ideal too. If you have a water type on your team or just Pokemon in general that are weak to so everybody here is weak to has nobody here resists grass except for Excadrill. But that's not enough. And so having a um having being able to have a grass type is really important on a sand team. Um, Even if you're running a you want to you're running sand. A lot of people feel like when you run sand, oh, you don't want to run other types. A lot of people that have this thought are like new players. Um, and having these ideas who don't really understand how VGC works. Same thing like you. Oh, if I have a sand team, I don't want to run water, fire, or grass or any of that. He's like, no, you want to have that coverage. A Pokemon that I really like is Rillaboom. Now, let's compare Rillaboom to Tapu Bulu, because it's mainly for the Grassy Surge ability. So let's take a look at stats. So Rillaboom has more HP. Bulu has more of a physical attack, more of a better defense, better special attack, better special defense, slower speed. Can it learn So he actually cannot learn Grassy Glide. And that's the biggest thing with Rillaboom. Grassy Glide. Um, yeah. So basically, the way Grassy Glide works is at 70 base power, and if you're under the grassy terrain, it gains a 30% increase, plus stab. And so, and with Rillaboom's insane attack stat, it'll do a lot of damage. And for Rillaboom, I want to give him a choice band to really just, so basically, and we're going to make him, we're not going to make him adamant, we're going to make him jolly. But this will really give Rillaboom a lot of power. Choice band, the grassy terrain boost, stab, and then 252 EVs. We'll put the rest. Excuse me, special defense. A lot of people like to make Rillaboom more so supportive or like try to make him bulky, but I found that Rillaboom is not a bulky mod. His objective should be to attack and sweep. And kind of like how I was comparing with Excadrill, in Rillaboom is Rillaboom Pokemon with an 85 base speed top out at 150, such as Kingdra, Rillaboom, Tapu Fini, and so Excadrill will outspeed them. So the next move I want to use is Fake Out. Now a lot of people are iffy with using moves like Fake Out and Protect when you have a choice item. The thing is, oh, 1 second, guys. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much. Sorry about that, guys. The thing is, a lot of people have the idea that like, oh, I don't want to use moves like Fake Out, Protect, or any kind of status move if I'm choice because I'm locked into them. Well, the thing is with Fake Out is it's optional. You have so like generally you would bring Rillaboom to the very beginning, to the first part of the match, and kind of get a feel, and it's like, okay, I don't want to use this. Fake Out is going to be important here. Then I can switch out. I actually don't use Fake Out that much on them, but I like to have that option just in case I need it. Now, if you have two Pokemon, if like Rillaboom, you have Rillaboom, and say you have Rillaboom and Dracovish left, the last two Pokemon, you're not going to use Fake Out because that would be dumb. Unless you get knocked off, and it's like, okay. But you can't really predict that, and that's generally not going to happen. And so, for his other moves, let's take a look. You could run high horsepower, but I don't recommend it. You could run like knockoff to handle those ghost types. Ghost and psychic types, I mean. And we'll go ahead for his final move and give him a U-turn. Oops, not before. U-turn. And you can always change knockoff to like, you can maybe give him like Drain Punch for coverage. And so that's why we have Rillaboom. He's going to cover a lot of our weaknesses. Be careful of Excadrill's weakness to fire. And so we do have a double fire weakness, but we do have Dracovish and Tyranitar. And really, Dracovish, Excadrill, and Tyranitar can hit fire types for super effective damage. So Rillaboom. Alright, so for the fifth mod, I consider it a general support. So this is so the fifth Pokemon that we have on the team is going to be for general support. Whether it's through intimidate, Tailwind, Trick Room, Dual Screens, status such as Sleep, Para, Burn, etc. Basically, you want to have something that can kind of set up and just overall kind of disrupt your opponent. Redirection. You can use mons like Amoonguss, Togekiss, Clefairy, Indeedee. You can use like Dusclops for ally switch. You could run Trick Room, like use Dusclops and maybe throw in a Trick Room mon. You could run like Whimsicott or Tornadus for Tailwind. A Pokemon that I really want to put on the team is Incineroar. I like to give him the Figgy Berry with Intimidate, and this is actually a standard Incineroar set with one little twist. Give him Flare Blitz, Fake Out, Parting Shot, and Taunt. So we give him 244 EVs in HP, 84 in defense, 148 in special defense. Now we have 32 EVs. Most Incineroars will put 20 in the attack and 12 in the speed, but I like to reverse that, put 12 in the attack and 20 in the speed. So most Incineroars run, so this is how I look at it. So a lot of Incineroars will run no speed investment and in fact have a negative nature in speed to underspeed those other Incineroars for Trick Room. Some of them won't do anything to their Incineroar's speed, won't take away nothing or give it any kind of boost to outspeed those Trick Room Incineroars and just prevent Trick Room. Some will have 4 to outspeed the Incineroars with no speed. Some will put 12 to outspeed most Incineroars. Well, I decided to put 20 because most Incineroars will not be at 20 speed. He already has a really good attack stat, so I don't think it's necessary to increase his attack stat any further. And so that's just, let me see something. So that's just something to definitely keep into account. So, Figgy Berry, when you're at 25% or less of your max HP, you'll gain 33%. Be careful that you don't have a negative nature in your attack stat and just put it in the special attack or any other stat at least, so you don't get confused. Intimidate, boom. You got Flare Blitz for the fire stab, and if you Dynamax, which Incineroar is a good Dynamax mod, Max Flare, it does set up Sun, so next time you use either Flare Blitz or Max Flare, it'll be boosted. Fake Out for that first turn flinch. Be careful, you cannot flinch Dynamax Pokemon. Parting Shot is just like Volt Switch, U-turn. Volt Switch, Flip Turn, and U-turn. Except the only difference is it lowers their attack and special attack stat, I think. Yeah. So they're getting a double Intimidate and lowering their special attack. And Taunt is great to prevent Trick Room setup. I actually built this team. I played a very similar build to this team earlier. And I had double Taunt, but I did have Incineroar Fake Out. So and that's why we built our Incineroar the way we did. And now we have the Water, Fire, Grass core. That's such a good core to have, especially like on weather teams. You want to have a core, some form of core like that outside of your standard, sand support. And then the final is I call it a wild card. Put whatever you want. You could say like we decided, okay, we may want to decided to focus on Tyranitar with Dragon Dance. You could run like Togekiss, Amoonguss, Indeedee. We set up. We have redirection. We could run Grimmsnarl for dual screens, Tornadus, not Braver, Talonflame, Whimsicott for Tailwind. You could run like you could do like Hitmontop, Quillfish, Tauros, Salamence, Luxray. Use a lot of these Pokemon for Intimidate. But what I want to do actually is I want to put Regieleki and use Choice Specs. You use Volt Switch, Electro Ball, Electro Web, and Thunderbolt. Just great coverage. It'll hit those flying types, and he's just overall fast. And he does offer some form of speed control. I give him a standard build of making him timid. 252 in special attack, 252 in speed, 4 in special defense. And this is our sand team. This is how I built my sand team. So let's Regieleki. And basically, but yeah, so this is how we built our sand team. And you have your standard Sand Rush core. You have Rillaboom to cover the weaknesses that they most have, Incineroar just overall support, and Regieleki. You have the Fire, Water, Grass core, and even the Electric core. So in theory, you could even like not use these two and just go with that. I wouldn't recommend it. So let's go ahead now and we'll get on the ladder, do one battle, and see how it plays out. All right, so they've also got a Water, Fire, Grass. They got Double Grass. They got all the starters. So they got Dragapult for speed control. Dragapult and Cinderace for speed control. They got Fake Out Pressure from Rillaboom. They got Kartana, which is either going to be Life Orb or Assault Vest. Weakness probably Glacier. So we're going to kind of see what what happens. So the only thing Rillaboom is going to be able to hit here is Glacier, Cinderace, Dragovich can hit so they forfeited, so alright, so they got Storm Drain. So you want to be careful with Cordeli. They don't have anything that has kind of Thunderbolt. They have Redirection. Excadrill would be good here. I'm thinking maybe we could run. You can possibly run like maybe run like Excadrill. You could run Tyranitar, or you run Excadrill. Bring Regieleki in. Tyranitar in the back, and I personally would bring. I would bring Rillaboom because it'll help do some damage. You could run Incineroar, but nothing here is really weak to fire directly, so we'll bring Rillaboom, see what kind of stuff we can do. Alright, so they got Cordeli and Milotic. Interesting. So, I want to. So I'm thinking we switch into Rillaboom and we go for Thunderbolt into Milotic. So they Dynamax their Cordeli. Alright, so we O-code the Milotic, which is ideal. Max Quake, which is great. Now we're going to see what else they have. That's the big thing to see now. They may run Lapras. Also, they ran Arcanine. Interesting. So, I'm thinking we go for Grassy Glide on the Cordeli, and we can Thunderbolt the... Actually, I say we... They're going to come and hit old boy right here, so... I say we go for Grassy Glide on Cordeli, and we go for Thunderbolt on Cordeli as well. That might have not been an ideal play. So they used Will-O-Wisp, Max Rockfall. They did set up Sand. It's not bad because now we do have Excadrill. Except, oh crap, we should have, that's okay, we'll do that. We should have, that was definitely a misclick on my part. I say we can Dynamax, Max Rockfall the Arcanine. Oh, they used Clefairy, interesting. Alright, we did get a crit, that's good. Max Rockfall and Clefairy, will that do anything for us? Okay. Max Overgrowth. Okay, got our weakness policy off, sweet. And their Dynamax should be ending this turn. So we're going to go for Grassy Glide on the Clefairy, and we're going to go for Max Rockfall. Oh, okay. I mean, that is unfortunate, but it happens. Yeah, that did nothing. We're going to hit the Cordeli. Oh, Arcanine had a Jetpack. Alright, so now, so we do lose our boost because of the Intimidate, but that is fine. So we're going to go ahead and switch into Excadrill. Go for Max Rockfall. No. So, yeah, we're gonna just keep going till Rillaboom just dies. So that's an. Alright, so we are burned. That is unfortunate. Alright, well we took out Clefairy, so now it's. Alright, Sandstorm has let off. Go for Grassy Glide and switch into Excadrill. We are sashed. So now we're going to switch into Tyranitar and we'll go for high horsepower on the Arcanine. GG. Alright. So the team played really well. We only lost Regieleki and we played smart. So we'll go ahead and do an instant replay. So I was concerned on what I thought they would bring out first. Commonly, you'll see like Lapras and Clefairy. Lapras will use G-Max Resonance to set up screens. Clefairy for redirection. Or like use Alchemy. And then you had Credilli for Storm Drain. Milotic for competitive. But so they ran Credilli and Milotic, which I thought was a strange kind of setup. I feel like you would bring Cordeli and Arcanine, but so I wasn't too sure exactly what to do with this, so I decided to run. I decided to hit Regieleki with Thunderbolt. We brought in our Rillaboom for Grassy Surge, just in case Milotic did survive, but fortunately it didn't. We were able to OHKO it, and so they Dynamaxed early on, and I think that was our biggest thing too, not Dynamaxing too early. And so we were able to one-shot the Milotic. Credilli went for Max Quake, so they were trying to knock out our Excadrill. Fortunately, we had Rillaboom that could take the hit. Rillaboom suffered a little bit, So they brought their Arcanine. For some reason, I didn't think to go and hit the Arcanine. I should have. I honestly, for some reason, thought I could do something, but then I was like, oh wait a minute, Grass resist Electric. So Max Rockfall on the Regieleki took it out. We did have Sand Up, but I think so. This is where I wanted to bring Excadrill, but I misclicked and brought out Tyranitar, which sucked. Not as bad though. So we have our Tyranitar. They brought in Clefairy. I Dynamaxed. Went for Grassy Glide on Credilli. Max Rockfall to Clefairy. Then they went for Max Overgrowth, but did nothing. Well, it probably did about probably 30%. Got off my weakness policy, and so it was like, okay, well, what? So I didn't even think about the switch. I should have hit the Clefairy with the Max Rockfall to hit the Clefairy. I mean, to hit the Arcanine. So their Dynamax ended. They switched into Arcanine to get the Intimidate. So I lost half of my. Weakness policy. Rillaboom took another stat decrease. They brought out their Clefairy. I go for Max Rockfall on the Credilli. Finished it off. That allowed for their Arcanine to come back in to completely get rid of my weakness policy. Rillaboom went down a little bit. They went for Ally Switch, which was actually smart, but I think we were able to take out the Clefairy, I think. Yeah. And so they were left with just the Arcanine. And so Sand had one turn left. I was like, okay, I need to switch out Tyranitar so I can reset the Sand. Excadrill is sashed, which was ideal. So Excadrill took a hit, survived. Sandstorm was done. So Sandstorm is gone, and this is why I did that. And so I was like, okay, well, let me switch Tyranitar back in. So here's the thing. He has max speed of 161, and he could have taken out Excadrill had I not had the Sand. And so I decided to hit him with high horsepower, and boom. So, I mean, I grant you, our ranking is not that high, but I found that the key thing is just being smart. I mean, I was expecting to see Lapras or Elkmarie. And I kind of looked at it as like, okay, well, Regieleki could hit two of those Pokemon super effectively. Excadrill could hit Credilli, Alchemy, Arcanine, Clefairy. So Excadrill could hit generally everything, and so it was just all. I didn't want to bring Dracovish because of Storm Drain, and then the Milotech and Lapras, and so. But yeah, so that's our team. We're only gonna play one match. And so in the next video, we're gonna go ahead and build a Sun team. The only team, so we may build a Hail team, but I have no. That's gonna be for another video in the future. I don't know how to run Hail, so. But alright guys, make sure if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified for the next video. Be sure to leave a like and drop a comment below on what you want to see next. And I want to thank you all for the support y'all have given me, and I look forward to the next video. So alright Z Nation, I'll see you guys later.